Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the morning recording. I'm your host, Big J, the fat ass badass, and this episode of the morning recording is brought to you in part by C.R. Ward Photography. C.R. Ward is a photographer who looks for the raw and natural beauty captured through the lens in portraits, street, and landscape photography. Please visit facebook.com/CR Ward Photography. And message him for pricing inquiries. C.R. Ward, taking your image to the next level. Hit him up, motherfuckers. Seriously, he does a great job. He's going to help me record my own promo for the Critically Creative Entertainment main YouTube channel. I came up with a wonderful idea yesterday, and I'm really excited about it. Really funny idea, Vine-like type of idea for my channel. So he's going to help me actually film that because he has the ability to film high definition quality video, and I don't by myself at this point. So he's going to help me out. So he'll help you guys out too for the right price. Trust me. Woo! I'm fucking excited. I felt good today. So anyways, so all you heathens out there, if you're already here listening to me, please, if you have not already, go to my YouTube channel, Critically Creative Entertainment, and subscribe there. It's imperative. If you want to continue to hear my wonderful voice greet you and have a good time with you in the mornings, we need to get my YouTube subscriber following definitely up than a lot higher than it is right now. So I'm going to keep working at this regardless. I don't care if one person who nobody else likes is listening to me or 10,000 people are listening to me. It doesn't change the effort I'm going to put into this. I'm going to give it my all regardless. That's the type of person I am. If I'm doing something, I'm giving it my all. So subscribe to Critically Creative Entertainment on YouTube. Follow me on Twitter, Big J at CR2_ENT, all capital letters there. Follow me on Daily Motion as well. I've been on there for a couple days. I just have a couple of videos up on there, but the videos that meet the time constraint requirements on that website will be uploaded there as I produce them. Also, download the Satchel Player app. That's SATCHELPLAYER. That's the application found on either your Google Play Store for you Android lovers or the Apple Store for you Apple lovers out there. So download the Satchel Player app. You could find the morning recording there if you search for it, and you could help donate there as well. Go straight to my PayPal account. It helps me fund future episodes as well as purchase new equipment. So it helps me live so I can do this for you guys. So you guys can download like $1, $3, $5, $10, whatever you feel I'm worth, directly in the Satchel Player app. And thank you very much for that. So again, I hope everybody's having a wonderful day. I have a little slight itch in my throat. I hope I'm not getting a cold. But you guys are going to hear me cough more than normal. Even though I have already taken a couple hits of some good quality cannabis flower, still the animal cookies. You know, maybe when I'm balling a little bit more, I can have 10 different types of smoke each day and tell you exactly what they are. But just steady smoking on this stuff is pretty good. Not the highest THC percentage. Down at the store, you can get stuff that's like nearly 30% a lot of times, or I don't know if I've ever seen 30+% THC down there. But this is just 16. But aesthetically, it's very pleasing. Very dense little nugs. Cross strain, I believe, between sativa and indica. I feel like I can smell and taste a little bit of each in there. A little spicy, a little citrusy. Good stuff. And it's stony enough for me. You know, I don't need 30% THC to do what I need to do psychologically. And probably nobody really does unless you're like in severe pain, like, and you don't need to do anything for the day. So I mean, 30% is pretty intense. And then you guys out there with your vape pens going fucking hard on your vape pens all day long. Whew, I know. I've been there and I've done it. You know, like smoked a lot of concentrates myself. But some of you guys out there just going through grams of concentrate a day. You guys are blowing your minds out of proportion, man. For real. You guys are going crazy on those vape pens out there right now. People are just lighting up the ozone. They want to talk about global warming, motherfucker. Woo, they should never invented a vape pen. Not that I wholeheartedly believe everything the government feeds us about global warming, but you know, we like to do our thing out there. So not talking shit at all you guys out there enjoying your vape pens. I hope they're treating you well. If you guys are rocking a Kiln or a Khalifa pen or whatever the fuck you call it, or one of those Snoop Dogg ones, or whatever the fuck, or one of the other millions of different brands out there, I'm glad you're enjoying yourself, man. So no hate, just talking shit. So Thanksgiving's just 2 days away. You guys are either all getting excited or stressing out about family either coming over, or you going over there to their house. Maybe your in-laws like to give you a hard time over your profession. Maybe they just like to bust your balls because of your in-laws. Give them a hug. Tell them you love them. Take the high road. Take the road. Don't take any loads, okay? Take the road less traveled, unless you want to. I mean, you know, take the road less traveled, and show love. It's what's most important for us to mend those divides. There's already enough divides within our ranks for us to be separated over one more thing. So, and that goes for you. You know, you on the upper end of the age scale too. You guys that are the parental and elders figures out there. You guys remember that even though those youngsters have their face in their smartphones all the time, that they still need to be reminded that the family around them and the people and the energy fields around them that they share the space with are the most important things, and not the technology in their hands. So you guys can't give up. Slap that smartphone out of that kid's hand and give him a hug. Whatever you got to do to get his attention, her attention. And you guys out there spread that love as well. So yeah, that's all we got to do, man. Don't harm anybody. Don't do anything to anybody that you shouldn't do that causes them any sort of harm. And let's all get along out there. What's your guys' favorite Thanksgiving dish? And are there any of you guys out there that don't do the traditional thing? Maybe you guys have your own family tradition that's not turkey and stuffing and ham and all the fixins. Try not to sound too much of a fat boy saying the word fixins. I could just feel the girth come out of me with that word. Anyways, so that sounded pretty weird. So you guys recognized it. That's all right. We'll just keep on rolling, dipping, dodging, ducking, and diving over here. So just to let you guys know, if you're unhappy about your situation in life, it can be changed. You can change it. Or maybe you feel like you took a wrong step in your life. You could always step back over to the other path or to a different path. You could always continue to make changes until you find the right balance in your life. If you find yourself longing or wishing for something that you had in the past, maybe don't ignore those feelings and maybe go explore them. You know, if you have an ability to go travel geographically, you know, maybe go revisit the site where you had good memories and you wish you had those back. You know, go acknowledge that within yourself. You know, maybe reach out to some people, and I could use this advice too. I'm horrible at this and my family knows this. Maybe reach out to some people that you haven't talked to in a while, you know, people that you enjoyed great memories with, and for some reason you guys separated, even if it was a bad reason. A lot of times enough water passes under the bridge, and you know, that mends a lot of the pain between people a lot of times. So go reach out, you know, that's it. Go reach out to, you know, people that you had those experiences with, and you know, maybe that'll help you feel better. You know, you come in contact with some of that energy that you treasure so much. So that's it. And if you're unhappy and you know, you wish you could change something, then go fucking change it. And if you keep saying it over and over again and keep taking it out on the people you live around, I need to learn this, myself included sometimes, then we need to, and I'm not saying that I want to change my life right now. I'm not saying like I have this friend and no, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that there's a lot of people out there who are unhappy with their lives, and a lot of times I go through things in my life that make me unhappy, but overall I would say that I'm glad to be who I am, and I'm pretty happy with my life. So for all you guys out there, maybe you have a roommate that doesn't clean up after themselves. Maybe you still live with your parents. You're like in your early to mid 20s or late 20s, and you still live with your parents, failure to launch type thing, and every time your mom makes you pizza rolls and you come into the kitchen to pick them up and she asks you to do a chore and you get pissed off, maybe you solve that problem and you move the fuck out already, Maybe you go do something with your goddamn self and move out already, solve that problem for the both of you. She wants you to move out too. She just loves you too much to tell you. So anyways, so change your life. If you don't like it, change your life and make a change. You're never stuck unless you're literally like locked in someone's sex dungeon or something. In that fact, there's no way you're listening to this show right now. If you're a weirdo out there that likes to buy children from third world countries, I'm coming for you in another life, motherfucker. So anyways, I was just thinking of the whole Podesta Clinton situation again, because people are still posting stupid bullshit on Facebook about they wish the election went the other way and you voted for a misogynist and someone who made fun of handicapped people. And so it just makes me, reiterate in my mind and not forget that, that all things and all harm against other people are bad, and are not to be tolerated. And both sides did things bad. So that's where that comes from right there. I'm just tired of the bullshit. So none of these people are commendable. All people do things wrong, for one, but not all people touch little children, and not all people violate other people's rights and shit like that. But most people talk shit. Get them in the right situation, they'll start to unfold a little bit about their personality. None of us are disinfected from being a human being or are perfect. Okay, I know all you transhumanists out there, you're working on that, but fuck you. I don't want your orgasm at the push of a button. I like to earn it. I like to fucking carry out the process myself, because it's not just a process, it's fucking an action I carry out. I'm a human being, not a machine. So it's not a process, it's an action I carry out that I enjoy. And you can keep your fucking nanotechnology the fuck out of me. I don't need you to cure my cancer or whatever. However I go out, and when I go out, I'm coming for all you motherfuckers. Alright? All you motherfuckers running this game, I'm coming for you. Alright? I ain't just walking into the light, bitch. Making changes. That's all I can do is try. So I truly don't like the fucking way this world is ran. I don't just get all topsy-turvy and upset every 4 years when some fucking lying cocksucker gets ripped off, okay? I've been upset, motherfucker, okay? I've been passionate about this shit. Get on my level. You haven't been on my fucking level. So this whole world is ran upside down. And if you're for any of these motherfuckers, then you're probably fucking not really for real change in this world. And that's it. So I challenge all of you guys to stay aggravated about the state of the world and to stay wanting to change things, and don't be appeased, even if the other bitch got fucking put in office, man. Alright? The asshole got put in office. Even if the asshole got taken out for the ruthless bitch, it's not fucking real change. It's not real change at all, man. She's fucking married to a pedophile, and she knows he's a pedophile, and she's right there next to him. That means that she, by association, she's like an assistant pedophile. So think about that, you fucking assholes. And he's no better. And he's Richie Rich too. Who knows, man? Maybe fucking they just didn't come out with the information on Trump. Maybe Trump's been to Lolita Island too. Who knows, man? All these do you see the fucking pictures? Like, there's all pictures all over the internet of the Trump family, Melania and Donald and fucking Bill and Hillary, all at social events, fucking laughing and shit, you know, years ago and stuff like that. It's all a game, man. Bill Clinton fucking grew up going to vacations with George W. Bush. They were supposed to be fucking, because they're opposing parties, they're supposed to be like enemies on the grand stage or whatever, but it's all just a bunch of bullshit. Bullshit meant to confuse your mind, but you won't believe it. You'll keep fucking eating the media's garbage and living it up and getting scared when the right person doesn't win. You should have been scared all along, man. Listen, you're born into a contract you never agreed to. You're owned by a bank from the start. That's in itself is fucking scary. That somebody else thinks you're their property. You're a human being. You guys will all watch that stupid fucking movie Ted 2, where he fights for his rights to be a human. But you guys don't realize is that you guys have already all lost the battle that he's fighting in that film. You guys have all already been owned since you were children underneath contracts, signed up as like a corporation with your birth certificate, and then given a number to fucking go by, which will be your death camp number if you ever go to an internment camp. And yes, it could happen. They'll just fucking, they'll probably just be microchips now. They won't have to fucking tattoo your social security number on your arm. They'll just have a microchip in your fucking neck and it'll scan you like you're a piece of fucking, like you're a box of Cheerios at fucking the grocery store. So think about that. So it's been going on, all right? So not just that you're born underneath a contract that's been happening since the 30s or 40s or whatever, but our country declared bankruptcy back then, and ever since then we haven't had any real assets backing our currency. You can't go trade $20 for an ounce of pure gold bullion, can you? Because you don't even know what a fucking dollar is. A dollar is a unit of measurement. 20 of them are supposed to be worth one fucking pure ounce of gold or silver bullion, because that's the only constitutional gold. So the Federal Reserve Act, which started printing out money at a centralized location, happened in 1913, and then it didn't even take them 20 years to remove the gold backing from it. So there's no gold backing, so we buy everything with debt. We're owned by bankers and other countries and shit, so our country is really just a fucking shell. So you're just getting mad now because she didn't win. You're just getting mad now. All this other shit doesn't fucking bother you. If it doesn't bother you, that means you don't have the ability to comprehend which ways you were enslaved, and you'll never even be able to fucking change anything truly. So you're just getting upset for no reason, like fucking bunch of livestock getting upset in a field because flies are crawling all over their ass and they can't fucking bite them all off of them. That's how you're getting upset. You can't change it. You want to have an organized fit and call it a protest. You're not truly organized. That's why the truly organized people can just dismantle your shit. So here we go off into tangent land, but I just needed to fucking talk about this a little bit because some of you fucks don't seem to understand that you've been enslaved, that our country's been a shell, that we've been in debt and owned by people on the slick. They replaced literal slave masters with figurative corporate slave masters. And they've made sure that our people don't have any assets, any real assets, even the things that you think that you own that are worth things like technological advancements like smartphones and gaming consoles and computers. All that shit will break down sooner or later if you don't replace it. So that's not a fucking real asset, and it's bought with debt currency anyways, so the people who own the debt can come recover any material items needed to cover that debt. So you bought a house with debt currency, you have a mortgage, till death mortgage, you have one of those, whoop, come swoop your property. You don't even need to be stupid and do a reverse fucking mortgage, which is basically giving away your family's home anyways. The illusion that you guys own it anyways. That's one layer on top of the first layer, the fact that you don't really own it anyways. Executive orders out there state that federal government can come in and FEMA can come in and move populations and rehouse populations and take control of all water supplies, all food supplies. You want to talk about you're free? You're free? You're free to graze in a pasture that's surrounded by a fence put up by people that are using techniques that you don't understand, you fucking retards. All right? You want to talk about being insensitive? I'm not talking about the people with Down syndrome. I love fucking people who are truly disabled because they truly cannot help themselves. I cannot show a lot of love for people who have mental aptitude but cannot get these things and cannot figure out that we've been oppressed. You people are driving me fucking crazy. All right? You're the dummies causing a lot of this divide. And I'm being abrasive right now, I understand, but sometimes you got to get someone's fucking attention. You got to shake the shit out of someone. It's been going on, man. Where you been at, motherfucker? Where you been at? You been blindfolded. And you still are. You peeked one eye out. And that's what you're doing right now. You're peeking one eye out from underneath the blindfold, not liking it, getting fucking upset. Sooner or later, you know what? That blindfold's going to go right back over those eyes because you're a weak fucking willed motherfucker who can't fucking see the ways in which he's enslaved. So that's that. So on that tip, I wanted to do a little short story session today. Where I read a short story, written and created, and all credit goes to the author of this short story. But I wanted to go ahead and read this. But before I do, I'm going to take a little bit of a break. Just a second. I just got to go take a leak real fast. It just hit me right now. So just hang tight. When I come back, you'll be enjoying me reciting myself reciting short story 8 o'clock in the morning by Ray Nelson. I'll be right back, guys. 1 second. Hey, happy mama, what are you doing? You a good girl, mama. Got to finish up the morning recording. Actually, we're just getting started. Y'all can hear me coming back to the mic. Get my big ass situated here. You guys still here? Did I lose you? I'm not going to cut that out either. I don't edit any of this. Unless I fuck up right at the beginning. I'll clip that out and maybe put an outtake at the end of the episode. But anyways, give me 1 second here. Let me take a hit of some animal cookies, cannabis flower, brought to you by Willamette Valley Growers, I guess. Warning: for use by adults 21 and older. Keep out of reach of children. It is illegal to drive a motor vehicle while under the influence of marijuana. Nobody ever got in a car wreck and said that it's because they were stoned. That doesn't happen. But alcohol is legal everywhere, and they put parking lots in front of bars, and then they fucking catch you as your dumbass drives out of them. So that's the contradiction of the world we live in. But any of you guys out there who are smoking weed with little kids out there, you're pretty much fucking up. So stop smoking weed with kids. I don't want to call you a piece of shit, but you're acting like a piece of shit every time you smoke weed with the kids. So the child's got to be old enough to make their own decision once their brain has formed enough to do so. And so that's the fair way. If someone can get into their adulthood and not do any drugs and then make the decision to do drugs once they're an adult, that's their own decision, and that's how they should be allowed to do it. I believe that we shouldn't be altering our children's perspectives and minds. We should be letting them have an objective learning experience growing up, and we shouldn't put them in mind-altering states until they're ready to do so on their own accord once they're old enough to make that decision. So that's that. So stop smoking weed with little kids, dude. All right? Stop being a fucking dirtbag, okay? All right? If you see other people doing it, tell them to stop being a dirtbag, okay? I'd hope that none of my viewers or listeners smoke weed with little kids, but if you do, knock that shit out, man. It's not cool. All right. And this show is for adults, so as most of my material will be. So, anyways, all right. So before I went and took my ever needed leak, I let you guys know that, not that I want that to be the lead into this story. Wow. Let's scratch that out there. All right, so you guys, it's short story time. I'm going to recite the short story, 8 o'clock in the morning, by Ray Nelson. Give me just a second here. See, I got that itch in my throat a little bit. One second here, guys. All right. This is 8 o'clock in the morning by Ray Nelson. At the end of the show, the hypnotist told his subjects, "Awake." Something unusual happened. One of the subjects awoke all the way. This had never happened before. His name was George Nada, and he blinked out at the sea of faces in the theater, at first unaware of anything out of the ordinary. Then he noticed, spotted here and there in the crowd, the non-human faces, the faces of the fascinators. They had been there all along, of course, but only George was really awake, so only George recognized them for what they were. He understood everything in a flash, including the fact that if he were to give any outward sign, the fascinators would instantly command him to return to his former state, and he would obey. He left the theater, pushing out into the neon night, carefully avoiding any indication that he saw the green reptilian flesh or the multiple yellow eyes of the rulers of the earth. One of them asked him, "Got a light, buddy?" George gave him a light, then moved on. At intervals along the street, George saw the posters hanging with photographs of the fascinator's multiple eyes and various commands printed under them, such as "Work 8 hours, play 8 hours, sleep 8 hours, and marry and reproduce." A TV set in the window of a store caught George's eye, but he looked away in the nick of time. When he didn't look at the fascinator in the screen, he could resist the command, "Stay tuned to this station." George lived alone in a little sleeping room, and as soon as he got home, the first thing he did was to disconnect the TV set. In other rooms, he could hear the TV sets of his neighbors, though. Most of the time, the voices were human, but now and then he heard the arrogant, strangely bird-like croaks of the aliens. "Obey the government," said one croak. "We are the government," said another. "We are your friends. You'd do anything for a friend, wouldn't you? Obey. Work." Suddenly, the phone rang. George picked it up. It was one of the fascinators. "Hello?" it squawked. "This is your control, Chief of Police Robinson. You are an old man, George Nada. Tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock, your heart will stop. Please repeat." "I am an old man," said George. Tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock, my heart will stop. The control hung up. No, it won't, whispered George. He wondered why they wanted him dead. Did they suspect that he was awake? Probably. Someone might have spotted him, noticed that he didn't respond the way that others did. If George were alive at 1 minute after 8 tomorrow morning, then they would be sure. No use waiting here for the end, he thought. He went out again. The posters, the TV, the occasional commands from passing aliens did not seem to have absolute power over him, though he still felt strongly tempted to obey, to see things the way his master wanted him to see them. He passed an alley and stopped. One of the aliens was alone there, leaning against the wall. George walked up to him. Move on, grunted the thing, focusing his deadly eyes on George. George felt his grasp on awareness waver. For a moment, the reptilian had dissolved into the face of a lovable old drunk. Of course the drunk would be lovable. George picked up a brick and smashed it down on the old drunk's head with all of his strength. For a moment, the image blurred. Then the blue-green blood oozed out of the face and the lizard fell, twitching and writhing. After a moment, it was dead. George dragged the body into the shadows and searched it. There was a tiny radio in its pocket and a curiously shaped knife and fork in another. The tiny radio was said something in an incomprehensible language. George put it down beside the body, but kept the eating utensils. I can't possibly escape, thought George. Why fight them? But maybe he could. What if he could awaken others? That might be worth a try. He walked 12 blocks to the apartment of his girlfriend, Lil, and knocked on her door. She came to the door in her bathrobe. I want you to wake up, he said. I'm awake, she said. Come on in. He went in. The TV was playing. He turned it off. No, he said. I mean, really wake up. She looked at him without comprehension, so he snapped his fingers and shouted, Wake up! The master's command that you wake up! Are you off your rocker, George? She asked suspiciously. You sure are acting funny. He slapped her face. Cut that out, she cried. Cut that out, she cried. What the hell are you up to anyways? Nothing, said George, defeated. I was just kidding around. Slapping my face wasn't just kidding around, she cried. There was a knock at the door. George opened it. It was one of the aliens. Can you keep the noise down to a dull roar? It said. The eyes and reptilian flesh faded a little, and George saw the flickering image of a fat, middle-aged man in shirt sleeves. It was still a man when George slashed its throat with the eating knife, but it was an alien before it hit the floor. He dragged it into the apartment and kicked the door shut. What do you see there? He asked Lil, pointing to the many-eyed snake thing on the floor. Mr. Coney, she whispered, her eyes wide with horror. You just killed him, like it was nothing at all. Don't scream, warned George, advancing on her. I won't, George. I swear I won't. Only please, for the love of God, put down the knife. She backed away until she had her shoulder blades pressed against the wall. George saw that it was no use. I'm going to tie you up, said George. First tell me which room Mr. Coney lived in. The first door on your left as you go towards the stairs, she said. Georgie, don't torture me. If you're going to kill me, do it clean. Please, Georgie, please. He tied her up with bed sheets and gagged her, then searched the body of the fascinator. There was another one of the little radios that talked a foreign language, another set of eating utensils, and nothing else. George went next door. When he knocked, one of the snake things answered, Who is it? Friend of Mr. Coney. I want to see him, said George. He went out for a second, but he'll be right back. The door opened a crack, and 4 yellow eyes peeped out. You want to come in and wait? Okay, said George, not looking at the eyes. You alone here? He asked as it closed the door, its back to George. Yeah, why? He slit its throat from behind and searched the apartment. He found human bones and skulls, a half-eaten hand. He found tanks with huge, fat slugs floating in them. The children, he thought, and killed them all. There were guns, too, of a sort he had never seen before. He discharged one by accident, but fortunately it was noiseless. It seemed to fire little poisoned darts. He pocketed the gun and as many boxes of darts he could and went back to Lil's place. When she saw him writhe in helpless terror, "Relax, honey." I'm sorry. When she saw him, she writhed in helpless terror. "Relax, honey," he said, opening her purse. "I just want to borrow your car keys." He took the keys and went downstairs to the street. Her car was still parked in the same general area in which she had always parked it. He recognized it by the dent in the right fender. He got in, started it, and began driving aimlessly. He drove for hours, thinking desperately, searching for some way out. He turned on the car radio to see if he could get some music, but there was nothing but news, and it was all about him, George Nada, the homicidal maniac. The announcer was one of the masters, but he sounded a little scary. Why should he be? What could one man do? George wasn't surprised when he saw the roadblock, and he turned off onto a side street before he reached it. No little trip to the country for you, Georgie boy, he thought to himself. They had just discovered what he had done back at Lil's place, so they would probably be looking for Lil's car. He parked it in an alley and took the subway. There were no aliens on the subway for some reason. Maybe they were too good for such things, or maybe it was just because it was so late at night. When one finally did get on, George got off. He went up to the street and went into a bar. One of the fascinators was on TV saying over and over again, "We are your friends. We are your friends. We are your friends." The stupid lizard sounded scary. Why? What could one man do against all of them? George ordered a beer. Then it suddenly struck him that the fascinator on TV no longer seemed to have any power over him. He looked at it again and thought, "It has to believe it can master me to do it." The slightest hint of fear on its part and the power to hypnotize is lost. They flashed George's picture on the TV screen, and George retreated to the phone booth. He called his control, the chief of police. "Hello, Robinson?" he asked. "Speaking." "This is George Nada. I figured out how to wake people up." "What? George, hang on. Where are you?" Robinson sounded almost hysterical. He hung up and paid and left the bar. They would probably trace his call. He caught another subway and went downtown. It was dawn when he entered the building housing the biggest of the city's TV studios. He consulted the building director and then went up in the elevator. The cop in front of the studio recognized him. "Why, you're Nada," he gasped. George didn't like to shoot him with the poison dart gun, but he had to. He had to kill several more before he got into the studio itself, including all the engineers on duty. There were a lot of police sirens outside, excited shouts, and running footsteps on the stairs. The alien was sitting before the TV camera saying, "We are your friends, we are your friends," and didn't see George come in. When George shot him with the needle gun, he simply stopped in mid-sentence and sat there dead. George stood near him and said, imitating the alien croak, wake up, see us as we are and kill us." It was George's voice the city heard that morning, but it was the fascinator's image, and the city did awake for the very first time, and the war began. George did not live to see the victory that finally came. He died of a heart attack at exactly 8 o'clock. And that is 8 o'clock in the morning by Ray Nelson. Overall, so I had a couple little slip-ups there. Overall, though, I hope you guys enjoyed that story. He had to make a sacrifice. He had to sacrifice it all in order to give the rest of his species a chance. He figured out the truth, and he found a way to take down the system. And the gentleman who wrote the story, I believe, probably understood a little bit about the way a small percentage of people controlled a large percentage of people on this earth, and maybe the reptilians are a comparison or an allegory to the way the people that run this world are monsters, or maybe he believed that that's really what was happening. But the point is that some of us are going to have to make sacrifices for the rest of us in order to spread the truth. And so those sacrifices include people mocking you, calling you a conspiracy theorist, calling you a nut job, calling you all kinds of fucking horrible things, maybe excommunicating yourself from a lot of people in your life who have traditional political views and things like that, and believe that the world is truly ran the way they say it is on TV. But yeah, just a great story, isn't it? But just the slightest hint of fear, and they no longer had the ability to control him. And it only took one man waking up to scare them. So the trick is that the man's got to wake up and then spread his message before being taken out himself, and then to start the ball rolling, truly start the ball rolling. So yeah, some heavy shit right there, though, if you ask me. It's a great story. So anyways, and so if you guys don't know, that's actually the basis. That short story is the basis for the John Carpenter film They Live, a cult classic, filmed back in the mid to late 80s. I believe it was released somewhere between 1986 and 1988, and starred Roddy Piper, who himself, an eccentric character who believed and knew for a fact that a small group of controlling hands were trying to dominate and rule over the rest of humanity in various subverted and perverted ways. So rest in peace, Roddy Piper. Hang on, brother, I'm coming. We'll fight these motherfuckers together. And fuck you, Pat Patterson. You fucking weirdo. I hope Roddy fucking haunts you in your dreams, bitch. So anyways, that sounded pretty negative, but if you guys never done any research on Pat Patterson, know who that is, maybe do a little something on him, and hear some of the stories from the young men that were around him in the wrestling industry for decades. Pretty horrific stuff. But anyways, want to segue into something a little less heavy, and heavy in a different way, but in a good way. All of you guys out there, I want to remind you guys to reach out to your elders and your loved ones in your life. If you haven't been over to your parents' house in a while, go over there, help them with the dishes, help them mow the yard, help them take the trash out, share a cup of coffee with them, share some stories with them. If you smoke cigarettes, smoke a cigarette with them. If you smoke weed, if they smoke weed, that's pretty cool. But smoke a fucking joint with them. Reach out to them any way you can. Gain the knowledge you can from them. Listen to their stories. Put the smartphones down. Share time with them. Be courteous. Invite them out to social gatherings still. Invite them out for brunch sometime or lunch. Take them out to a diner. Show love and appreciation for the time they spent sacrificing for you in your life. And remember that love is what matters the most in this world. And with that, I want to remind all you guys out there, show your love towards me. And please subscribe to Critically Creative Entertainment on YouTube. You can also subscribe to Fight Shark. I'm working on other channels and other content too. It's a slow rolling ball, especially with limited resources and equipment right now. So, yeah. So if you guys would please go on to YouTube and subscribe, get our subscriber count up. I love you guys. Thank you very much for the support. You have no idea how much it means to me. Warms my heart every time I see that number go up. The amount of people that enjoy the message that I'm putting out in the world makes me feel warm in my heart. So all of you guys have a wonderful day. Show love. Like I said, it's most important every single day of the year is to show love. Let's bridge that divide that's between us and close that gap, okay? This has been the morning recording.